Your live begins shortly. Your live interactive Weather Authority coverage will begin shortly. Your live Weather Authority coverage starts right now.
Good evening, everyone. Good Friday evening out there. Hope everybody is enjoying themselves. Hope everybody enjoyed a little sun today. We're back to winter. We have a storm on tap for Saturday, Sunday, Maine Maple Sunday. That one snuck up on us, right? That's coming up this upcoming Sunday here. We have a nice looking pattern from Monday, Tuesday. And then probably next week we'll get into some rain at some point Wednesday into Thursday. Of course, the item at hand here is a storm system Saturday. Snow is on our doorstep tonight. So I want to do a little weather extra, and we won't spend too much time on the weather extra tonight in the digital studio, but I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight on Facebook, X, and YouTube. We'll be talking about the timing. I think the timing of precipitation types, amounts of precipitation. We're going to run through all of this in just a second here. And that's something we probably need to spend some time on here because it's not a quick in and out storm. This is going to be an all-day event on Saturday. And you'll probably get a variety of precipitation types if you're outside of the mountains. Those of you in the mountains, you should stay mostly snow here. So I hope everyone's doing all right. For some reason, I don't have any audio on my computer tonight, but hopefully you folks can hear me. And I don't see any complaints that we can't hear me yet, so we'll just continue on. All right, let's take a look at what we have first on our timing. Let's outline the storm. Moving in, snow moves in 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. In that window will be first flakes. It'll be snowing for most of the morning tomorrow. At my guess, 11, noon, 1 o'clock, that's when we'll start to introduce some of that wintry mix. First over southern areas, York County, coastal parts of Cumberland County, maybe mid-coast Maine. And then we'll probably go over to some rain at the coast, freezing rain inland, and areas that go over to rain will go back to freezing rain during the evening hours. So there's a lot of different precip types to outline for you. Before that, though, many areas will get a lot of snow, and we should get a decent amount of snow area-wide. So we'll run through this a few times as far as snowfall amounts, because folks will be joining us at different times throughout the little weather extra broadcast we have here tonight. But here's an estimate of what we're expecting, probably about 3 to 6 inches at the coastline. And then on top of that, we're going to get some rain that's going to knock things down a little bit. We'll get some freezing rain. They'll crust things up a bit as well. The peninsulas and islands, you might be in the 1 to 3 inch range, especially as you head down toward maybe Port Clyde, Thomaston area, those regions there. But southern York County, southern New Hampshire, I think you're probably in the 1 to 3 as well. Now, Sebago Lake, Lewis, and Augusta, all the way back to northern York County, 5 to 9. 8 to 12 we'll do it. In fact, Freiburg's on the upper end of that, I think. But Bridgeton, you're in the 8 to 12. Northern Androscoggin County, northern Kennebec County. And the mountains, there'll be some spots that get over 1.5 feet of snow. So a solid 12 to 18 plus will do it there. I think those will be the winners. And skiers and snowboarders will be happy. I went skiing for a little while this morning, and it was fantastic. I can't stress this enough. This late March surge of snow has just been wonderful here. Let's take a look at satellite radar. We have some clouds that have been on the increase. And the first little burst of snow, you see it trying to show up right there. The atmosphere is very, very dry, so that's not going to hit the ground. It looks like we have the rain off to our west and off to our south. And this is just starting to get its act together. I got to find my cursor here. Hang tight, everyone. Huh? My cursor? My cursor's not going to work on me. All right, but you get the general idea. We have some of that rainfall approaching from the south. Oh, now it's back. Hold on. Oh, all right, there we go. We're going to find this. There we go. I'm running 2 computers. There we go. Now I have my draw tool. All right, so we got it. I knew we'd get it. So I have 2 computers. I have the weather computer and this weather studio computer here, a digital desk computer. Regardless, though, all this moisture will be surging north in the coming hours. And there's a lot of moisture on the eastern half of the United States. Now, this is a storm that is affecting everyone east of the Mississippi, here in northern New England and also into New York. We are pretty much the only ones getting the wintry precipitation. So that's probably why it's not making national headlines. Put this storm in Boston, New York, or Philadelphia, and then it'll make national headlines. But it's an all-day event. Here we are at 3 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow, and yeah, I mean, we're going to see a lot of different precip types. All snow back to the mountains. There's the mix. The mix, predominant type of wintry mix in that area, I think, is going to be freezing rain. So freezing rain on top of, in many cases, half foot of snow. And there's the rain off to the south right there. So this is the graphic I want to spend some time with. It looks like there are a bunch of you still jumping on to Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, or X and YouTube. I appreciate that. And spending your Friday night with me. That's quite nice of you. This is probably going to be a good graphic to go through here. There's a few things we need to highlight. First, we're all going to start as snow 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. So it's snowing area-wide, and it's snowing at a very good clip during the early morning hours. By the time you get up, you probably have several inches of snow already on the ground. So the morning, luckily it's Saturday, I was going to say the morning commute will be slippery, but if you're traveling anywhere on Saturday morning, yeah, it's going to be slippery due to snow. Now, we won't even introduce any of that wintry mix until probably about 11 o'clock in the morning. So let's just back this up a little bit. Here at 11 o'clock in the morning, we're introducing some of that mix over southern parts of the area, York County, maybe mid-coast Maine, maybe parts of coastal Cumberland County. What's happening here is there's some warmer air coming in aloft, and that warmer air is coming in at roughly about 5,000 feet in elevation. Now, at the ground level, the cold air is going to try to hang on for a little while. So we'll probably go over to some freezing rain for a bit, and this takes us to about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So we'll start to see that mix develop, I think, late morning and early afternoon. Those of you up to Lewiston, Augusta, Sebago Lake, at least the north side, I think you're still snowing early afternoon tomorrow. It's snowing in the mountains, still dumping up there at this point. But it's in this area here that we're probably starting to see a change over to rain at the coast. So the immediate coastline probably will go over to rain, and I can't stress this enough. There's a huge difference between that 35 degrees and 31 degrees. The confidence level is high at 5,000 feet. It's going to be warming above freezing. But at the ground level, the big question is, when is that going to warm above freezing? I think we will transition over to some rain on top of maybe 3 to 6 inches of snow at that point. So it starts to get kind of sloppy there. Now, let's take you to, what's the next pause point we have here? Things get even more interesting as we go through the evening hours now. So areas that get some rain will probably go back to freezing rain for a while for coastal parts of Maine. Because notice how the temperature was 35, it's 32. That's the model's idea of, okay, it's going to try to cool off as the nighttime temperatures try to settle in. And the wind direction pretty much tries to come in out of the northeast. So it looks like we're going to try to see that cool down at the ground level while it's still warm upstairs. So remember, we have snowflakes falling, becoming raindrops, and then instantly freezing. So that's why we're going to get the freezing rain for a large portion of the area, I think, during the late day hours here. So a good chunk of the region, all the way back to Sebago Lake, Lewiston, Augusta, I think you will change to some freezing rain, maybe all the way back to Bridgeton, Freiburg. We'll have to see if that pans out. You're still snowing all the way back through the mountains at this point. That's how we think it's going to go down. Remember, there's a huge difference between 30 degrees and 33 or 34 degrees. I mean, this whether you get icing or whether it's just plain old rain. It's also worth mentioning during the day. We have to remember we're in March right now, so the sun is just as strong as it is in August right now. So during the daylight hours, even when it's cloudy and snowing, some of the sun's radiation is getting through those clouds, and any dark surfaces will be heating up. So I don't think we're going to see too much of an issue with freezing rain during the day. It's more so as we go into the evening hours, we will start to see some issues with some of that icing. Now, two things to note on that. One, I don't think we're getting enough for power outages. Usually you need about 3/4 of an inch of ice to start to get widespread outages. We're expecting about a coating to maybe 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little over 1/4 of an inch in some areas of icing. That's noteworthy. The other thing is that ice is going to come on top of, in some cases, a half foot of snow. So there's a very big difference between freezing rain on an untreated flat surface. That's when you get a lot of slippery conditions. But freezing rain on top of a snowpack just kind of crunches the snow up a little bit, and it's not nearly as bad as if you were to get it on a flat surface that is untreated and will not absorb some of that rainfall. So are we expecting a huge freezing rain event? Answer to that is no, but we will get some freezing rain precipitation. There's the snow continuing in the mountains. Here we are at about midnight tomorrow night. Back edge is shifting east. Time frame for the end of this is 10 p.m. to about 1 a.m. So let's take you back to 10 p.m. or 9:30. There's that mix being sleet, freezing, more likely freezing rain in the pink color, and some heavy downpours across mid-coast Maine. We'll have to see if that materializes, but this is one model trying to project a warm up into the 40s and towards Rockland. We'll see if that materializes. Either way, though, there'll be a variety of precip types, and the mountains will get the jackpot out of this one. Let's see here. I just went too fast through here. Sunday's good. Temps will be in the 30s. Yeah, it's funny because I was talking with Ryan about this. This is a forecast model showing a nice, bright, sunny day. Now, Sunday's one of those days you look up, the cloud's going to take on a very milky appearance of the sky. There'll be some clouds way up there in elevation. I don't think I've seen this in a long time, but the clouds usually high clouds are like 20,000 feet in elevation. On Sunday, those high clouds will probably be way up around 30,000 feet in elevation. At least that's what's forecast. So that's why the model's completely missing out on it. It thinks it's going to be sunny, but I think it'll be a milky appearance of the sky. So we'll call it sun and clouds on Sunday. If you're just joining us on the Facebook Live, first off, thank you. Looks like a bunch of people are still checking in. Thank you for spending a Friday night with us on YouTube, X, and what are we on Facebook as well. There's a look at some of those snowfall totals. In many cases, that's going to be compact a little bit. One of the questions I have is, the Freiburg Bridgeton area, I wouldn't be shocked to see some of these areas and some of the higher amounts as well. We'll have to keep an eye on that, but obviously lighter amounts near the coastline. But I think we'll be in pretty good shape from Sanford to Portland to Brunswick, Bath, 3 to 6 inches there. Lewiston to Augusta to Sebago Lake, up to northern York County from maybe Leamington to going all the way back to Cornish maybe. Those areas about 5 to 9. Freiburg, Bridgeton to northern Androscoggin County from Turner to Leeds to Greene to Livermore, up to the Belgrade Lakes, about 8 to 12 we'll do it there. And as we go to the Route 2 corridor up into Franklin County, 12 to 18, there'll be a plus in there because some spots will get 20 inches of snow. The White Mountains will get a solid 12 to 18, I think. Now, the jackpot in this one, if there's the highest totals in this one, is probably going to be up here, right there. And that includes the Saddleback. Ooh, that should go all the way to eastern Maine. But should go to the Canadian border up into Brunswick. My drawing is not up to par here. But the reason I want to highlight that from Rangeley points north and east, I think those will be the highest amounts. And I was super jealous because Christian keeps on telling me how he's going to Sugarloaf for the weekend. I think our very own Dan Lamparello is going to be over there as well, and I'm extremely jealous, but he'll have a good time. Skiing, big shot in the arm for some of the ski resorts here. Just about everyone's going to benefit from this one. I went skiing today. The skiing was fantastic. Best skiing of the entire year, in fact. Shout out to Winter Kids. I think I'm going to go over to Sunday River on Sunday. I'm going to try to get the kids involved. Winter Kids, great organization here in Maine, and they're doing their first ever Winter Kids Day at Sunday River, and they put together a good program for the kids. So shout out to Winter Kids, and shout out to Sunday River doing the first Winter Kids Day. I've been to a bunch of them over the years, from to Shawnee Peak or Pleasant Mountain all the way over to Mount Abram. We've been to Black Mountain. They do a lot of stuff for the kids. So shout out to Winter Kids, and they picked a great day. How about that? It's here we are, late March. You never know what you're going to get, right? All right, let's see, what do we have for graphics here? What else we got? Oh, ice tracker. I almost forgot that. There'll be some freezing rain involved. We talked about the freezing rain. Probably a coating to maybe a little over 1/4 of an inch in some areas. I don't think that's at the immediate coastline. You had 15 miles inland. That might be the sweet spot for maybe that 1/4 of an inch of ice. But it's on top of snow, so it kind of crusts up the snow and everything. It's a much different setup than if we were to get freezing rain on a flat, untreated surface. So I guess that's good news there. All right, I think that's it, right? Maybe I can answer some of your questions. Let's see. Troy says, "Oh, come on, but you don't want to put the groundhog on the barbecue." I like where you're going, though. I'm not a big fan of the groundhog. I'm not a big fan of what we call them woodchucks here in Maine, in New England in general. But the reason they eat pumpkin plants. Nobody likes a woodchuck. They eat your garden. They might be cute, but they're not great. Power, yeah, and wind isn't a good question. So wind is not going to be an issue in this one, Joseph. Heavy wet snow, yeah, there'll be some heavy wet snow. I don't think this is a widespread power outage deal. Anytime you're dealing with a foot of snow, there is that potential. So there is that chance. But wind, coastal flooding, probably not an issue with this storm for the first time in a while, right? So let's just enjoy the snow, but we're getting all sorts of precipitation types. Enjoy the day of hopefully not working, and just, maybe watching basketball or something. That would be kind of cool. All right, I'm going to try to avoid maybe some of the individual town questions here. I could be here. There's a bunch of them showing up. I could be here until probably 10 o'clock if we're not careful here. Let's see. We haven't talked about rain, so that's a good question from Travis. Any questions? How much rain from Mid-Coast Maine? The rainfall is 1.5 inches to 2.5 inches of rain. Yeah, there's a flood watch in effect. We haven't actually hit that up yet. Meteorologist Ryan Munn was here, and he was doing all the watches and warnings, and basketball ran a little bit late, so unfortunately we didn't get a chance. He didn't get a chance to do his nice segment. So there's actually a flood watch in that region. There's winter storm warnings. There's one winter weather advisory. There's an avalanche watch in effect for the presidential range up in New Hampshire for tomorrow. And yeah, that's something else. If you check out my Facebook page, or I think I put on Twitter or X as well, there was an avalanche on Tuesday up in Tuckerman Ravine that was estimated to be a 1 in 20 year event. 1 in 20 year event. It was a huge slab of snow that came down at once. If you know Tuckerman Ravine, everyone from Left Gully to this place, this run called Chute, all the way to the Lip, that all came crashing down, and the runout was pretty far as the snow runout. So a very impressive avalanche occurred up there. There were avalanches all over the place. In fact, Hillman's Highway avalanche. I was up there today, and you could see some of the debris from that. The snow was deep though, so yeah, this is a very big late March for the higher elevations in the presidential range. One of the reasons it slid, remember that they had a lot of sleet and grapple, and that's not a good bonding layer to the snow that was on top. So big problems. The reason I mention all of this, though, there is an avalanche watch that goes into effect tomorrow. So I know a lot of backcountry skiers might be saying, "Okay, Charlie, we're going to get 20 inches of snow." Yeah, that's right. But we have to wait for the snow to settle out a little bit before we start skiing in the backcountry. So yeah, all right. Now I've gone on too long on that. Melissa says, "Stop crying." I like it. Be prepared. You're welcome, Susan. Thanks for checking in. The groundhog lied. Out like a lion. Oh, yeah, March. You never know what you're going to get. Next week, actually, we might hit 50 degrees next week. It's possible. So this is a fun time of year, though. I love this time of year. Rangeley's ready. All right. Checking in from Rangeley, Kim says. All right, Lois, you're very welcome. Thank you. How about Oakland area? Yeah, okay, so Oakland, I said I wouldn't go town by town, but this is tough. Everybody wants to know their forecast area here. So the Oakland area, you're probably in the 5 to 9 inch range there. Lewis and Auburn, yes, 5 to 9 inch range. Gardner, 5 to 9. Yeah, okay. How long will it stick around? I don't know. If you live in the mountains, it's probably going to stick around for a long time. I don't know. This is a great time of year, though. It snows. It doesn't stick around too long, but when the sun's out, it feels good. I don't know. It's better than mud, right? It can be mud. I'd rather have this than a plain rainstorm, I think. I don't know. That's probably a rare, unpopular opinion. Everybody's checking in. Somebody's telling me what their app is reading. That's nice. Thank you. How much are we getting? Lewis, oh, sorry, Lewis in 5 to 9. I hope I have 7 feet. Everybody wants the road town. Sorry. All right. I think I've answered everyone's questions. Hopefully I have. There's a ton of questions here. I'm sorry I can't get to everyone. I have people getting, oh man, people are getting upset with each other. Let's keep this one a family-friendly event. Who wrote that one? Scott. Yeah, you got to be nice. Be nice on this. We're talking about weather. This is fun stuff. Don't be mad at the other people posting. All right, we're going to leave it at that, I think, tonight. If you're just joining, let's just go through the timing one more time here. This is probably the most important part. I still have Chris's nice question here. Thank you very much. Let's go through the timing one more time. We still have a bunch of people on here, so let's go through the timing. Here we go. Here's the snow, 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. Gets going. Here we go into the morning hours. I should have put another pause in there. I wanted to put a pause at 11 a.m. because we'll start to see that mix over southern areas. I think we'll change over to some rain at the coastline, but before that, it'll probably be a mix of sleet, freezing, rain. But the coastline goes to rain for a while. That pink color is mostly freezing rain. Still snowing Lewiston up through Augusta. Even there, though, I think you'll go to freezing rain for a little while, but it's not until late afternoon or evening. Still snowing in the mountains. Colder air comes rushing back at the coast. We'll probably go back to freezing rain. In fact, most freezing rain is going to be probably late afternoon and going into the evening. That's going to be the window, I think, for the most freezing rain. So if you change over to rain, you think you're in the clear, that might be wrong because I think we'll go back to it for a little while late in the day. And this is a forecast that could bust in all sorts of ways. I mean, there's a big difference between 30 degrees and 34 degrees. And as we know, meteorology isn't an exact science, but we'll get it pretty close for you. There it is, ending between 10 p.m. and about 1 a.m. One last look at the snowfall amounts. There they are. I wouldn't be shocked to see that foot. Yeah, the 8 to 12s. The 8 to 12s would be a lot of foots, I think, somewhere in there. Ice tracker coating to maybe a little over a quarter of an inch of ice. So. Yep, storm. I think it's a pretty manageable storm, though. It's Saturday, and the wind isn't an issue. Coastal flooding not an issue. So yeah, it's just I don't know. No reason to get too excited about it, I guess. Maybe we just haven't had any major storms this winter. So if this was a normal winter, we're just feeling, all right, it's Saturday, another storm. All right, folks, that's the way things look tonight. We'll have another update on Fox 23 at 10, and I think we have a newscast after the basketball game on CBS. Meteorologist Emily Santom will be in tomorrow morning. She'll be doing some updates here on the digital studio, so you can check in to the Facebook, X, and YouTube on the CBS channels, and she'll have the latest information probably around 7 o'clock in the morning, I think somewhere in there. And then meteorologist Ryan Munn will be here late morning as well. So we'll have updates for you throughout the day, and I'm sure we'll need some updates here and there. I'm sure this isn't going to work out exactly the way we have it laid out. There'll be a few surprises here and there, but I think we'll be in pretty good shape. All right, have a great night and a good weekend. Take care.